welcome to RC Nitro for Dummies, specifically how to maintain your Nitro RC buggy. If you're new to the hobby, I'm going to let you know that maintenance of your vehicle is not an option. In other words, you can clean your buggy, and you can see here I like to keep my, my ride very clean. However, beyond that, you need to maintain very specific components on your Nitro vehicle. Otherwise, what's going to happen is after 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on how often you drive it, you're going to end up with a car that is probably half of what it was when you first purchased it. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the different things that, I feel at least, you need to do to maintain and keep your vehicle like new. And the way I'll define this is based on specific intervals. Then we'll go ahead and use the term a run for each interval. Now, a run, let's define this, has to have at least one full tank of gas. It could have multiple tanks of gas, but essentially anytime that you take the car out and at least run through a single tank of gas, let's look at that as a run. So if you just take it out like I do in the evenings and run it up and down the street a little bit on a quarter of a tank, that's not really specific to this. However, if you take it out and you bash it, or you're racing it around the parking lot or anything, then we'll just go ahead and consider that a run. Also, this is just a guideline, so don't use this as any sort of a Bible or anything. This is just what I prefer and what I feel works the best. So let's go ahead and get into it and talk about the things that you need to do to maintain your vehicle to keep it in tip-top shape. Additionally, as I go through each of these exercises, I obviously don't have enough time to show you in detail how to perform each one of them, but I promise you I will be making a video on every single step, every single activity that I've defined here, if there's not already one there. So just go to my channel and search for keywords with respect to any of the things that you see here, okay? So after every single run, the most important thing that you want to do is simply inspect the car. And what you're doing is you're looking for any kind of loose pieces, anything that might have been dented or harmed in any way. And you can kind of always, those things will typically stand out. So really you're looking for anything that's been broken. Additionally, what you want to do is give it what I call a general cleaning. So I made a video on how to deep clean your Nitro RC car, but I don't think that's really needed after every single run. But at a minimum, you do want to give it, as I mentioned, just a general cleaning. So what I like to do is use some compressed air and then some Nitro Clean, just to get to the areas, any place around here that I can reach without having to remove the components. And you'll see that typically if you're out bashing. You'll see areas, around your fuel tank, down here, around your pinion and your spur gear, on your arms, your shocks, all that. You just want to essentially get all that gunk off, because I promise you, cleaning it is not only for the aesthetics of the car, but cleaning it also makes incredibly positive impacts on the performance of the car. So, as I mentioned, do not let any sort of gunk build up on there. The other thing that you're going to want to do after every single run, other than inspection and general cleaning, is change the after-run oil. So, I know, some people think, well, I'm going to run it again in the next, maybe they run it at night and they're going to run it in the morning, but you never know. What if you don't, right? So, the way I look at it is, it certainly can't hurt. So if you remember, after every single run, just put a little bit of after-run oil through it, and that's pretty much it after every single run, so it's not too bad. Now, after every other run, what you want to ensure you do is get the air filter, wash it out, re-oil it, because I promise you this is your first and last line of defense with respect to keeping the engine clean. So at a minimum, every other run, make sure you take your air filter off, wash it with warm soapy water, and re-oil it. The other thing that is incredibly important is check all of your screws. Again, after every other run, make sure all of your screws are tightened. Just get every nut driver, whatever tools that are required, go through. You would be surprised, especially in a buggy, you'd be surprised at how many things will come loose. So just spend about 5 to 10 minutes tightening up every single screw. The other thing you want to do, the final thing after every other run, is check the tires. So you want to make sure that the actual rubber's not come loose from the wheel. And if it does, you just apply some glue to it to put it back on. But that happens a whole lot. So definitely make sure that you check your tires and ensure that they're glued on there after every other run.